I had the pleasure of working with Alexander Christ, and he was helping us with sort of reopening an area of our Audubon Fairchild Garden. So Alex came along to say that he could help us to remove alien invasive plants there and help to reopen some trails that had become overgrown, clear them off where soil had eroded onto them, things like that, and just make it a more accessible area, safer, get rid of some of these alien invasive plants, and just make wildlife viewing easier and more enjoyable there.
We cleared out a lot of material, and the bushes are hard to cut down, and because they harden over time, and so the more mature the plant gets, the tougher it is to get rid of. And so at the end, it's hard wood, and so it would take a while with a saw, and it also kind of grows in a canopy, and so it kind of protects its base. And there's thorns, so it's kind of tricky to get into. So you gotta cut away pieces and get underneath, but it's possible.
He did a good job. He was a cheerful fellow, and I was impressed by the team of people that he had assembled to do the job. And certainly lots of enthusiastic scouts as well as parents, and it was evident that he had given assistance to other scouts, and they were reciprocating his good sort of community support, one scout helping another.
It takes diligence and determination, and kind of just seeing your goal and just putting the pieces together to reach your goal.
The work and the community support and a very useful outcome. It's been a good experience for us.
My project was for the Dingletown Church. It's off Stanwich Road, and basically they had an area behind it that was all overgrown. So I cleared out that whole area, and originally we were going to put down wood chips over the entire area. That way, it wouldn't regrow, but the person who was running my project did want it to grow back a little bit, but not uncontrollably. But she wanted to put this swing set in an area that'd be safer for the kids to go on it.
So Mike got all his buddies together and forced them to come over and do all the grunt work of getting land cleared and raking and seeding some places and getting enough young men together to move the huge jungle gym, which had been unceremoniously sort of plopped in the middle of our lawn in the back. So he did all the work for getting his friends and probably a lot of them other Eagle Scouts.
They built a square out of logs basically and filled that with wood chips, and then so it wouldn't overgrow there, and that was like a foot thick of wood chips, and moved the play set over to there. And then she also wanted, there were some circles that like a type of labyrinth type thing of wood chips, and we did that so that won't grow back either.
We've had a couple of former church members have come back and looked and said, oh wow, that really looks nice back there now, because it was a jungle of overgrown, incredibly nasty rose bushes.
It was great. I was happy that I had finally finished it, and it looked great. I mean, I looked at the before and the after pictures and I saw the huge difference, so it was great.
I did my project for the Greenwich Land Trust. It was the cleanup of the Lovelace property. They had lots of invasive species there, mostly vines that were suffocating the trees. So the trees weren't able to grow, and many of them were dying. The biggest difference was along the road. There's a small strip of trees in between where the lake and the road is. And that area was extremely grown over. It was still clear how much of a difference there was. Obviously, the leadership definitely helps you, without a doubt. handling people and getting stuff done. The community service also, it sort of gives you pride knowing that you can go back later and say, like, I did that with people from my troop. When I was younger, it was just the fun of it, going on campouts and building fires and finding animals and stuff like that. But then later on, it definitely changed to more of leadership skills and leading the troop and helping other people have fun. The younger kids that were there, to really like get to know what I got to know when I was younger.
My project was, first of all, we made Christmas cards and we ordered fabric that was with Christmas patterns on it on eBay. And then we in several work sessions, put all these cards together. We glued them onto the cards and then cut the fabric, and we sold packs of those cards in fives. The goal was to write Christmas cards for the homeless people at the luncheon, and also to provide them with blank Christmas cards and envelopes that were stamped so that they could write a card if they had a relative or a friend that they wanted to communicate with. So we sold cards at the church, at the American church there, to pay for the materials and for the cards that were written to the homeless people, and to the cards to cover the costs of the cards that the homeless people themselves could write. What was probably most challenging was during the work sessions. There was one where I think we had about 10 scouts working there, and most of them were younger scouts. They might have been 12 years old or so, and keeping them on task was very difficult, and making sure that the quality of the work was still good, because we had to make sure the patterns were all upright on the cards and not tilted, and that they weren't cutting off part of the card when they were doing it. So keeping that all on task and keeping the quality of work up was important, because we didn't want to have bad cards that we were selling or that we were giving. And so that sort of required me to spend more time with the scouts to organize them and to make sure that they were being productive. It felt really great that I had done this project and that I was able to organize a pretty substantial project and carry it out, and that it was meaningful, and that it was able to hopefully, I wasn't there to see it, but I was told that they really enjoyed it, and so I hope that it was special to them, and I'm glad that I was able to do that.
I did my project for the Audubon, and the one I chose involved creating 60 feet of boardwalk, and then also they wanted to make it a real ordeal, so I also cleaned up 3 of the northern trails, because the idea was that first no one could get to the northern trails because it would get about like ankle deep mud in these 2 stretches across the Byram River. And so first we had to kind of allow people to get across there, and want to get across there. And then people were getting lost. They were making calls in that they couldn't find themselves in the northern trails. And so, it was the real project was the boardwalk, and it required me to raise about $1,200 of funds to buy white cedar, which would last and which would hold up. But it wouldn't have any chemicals, it wouldn't be treated, so it would be good for the environment. I raised more than enough money, and so I got the lumber, and I had about 3 work days total. The first work day, we all met at my house and on the driveway, and we built the boardwalks. And I mean, they're big. They're not like your usual boardwalks. You've got 2-inch thick planks, and we made them in 6-foot sections lengthwise. by the end of the project, you know, the boardwalks were down, and we had hikers that were actually already telling John Faraday, who was the groundskeeper, that it was great. They liked to hike those trails, and it's a lot easier, and so it felt good to know that they liked that. And I had great help from everyone that helped me. They came out, and you know, a couple of people came out multiple times. My friend Lorenzo, he brought his, you know, his dad's a carpenter, so he brought all the really great tools that would help us, and everyone was just a really big help.